Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Johanna, and for those of you who are new here, welcome. And for those of you who are returning, welcome back. In today's video, we'll be doing what I think might be part one of setting up my new A5 Stalogy planner. And if that is of interest to you, please stay tuned. Okay, so down in the description box below, I will do timestamps of the various sections, and I said part one because I'm feeling a little under the weather. As I mentioned in a video I filmed yesterday, Aunt Flo showed up this week, and so that's part of it. And then I know it's going to make me sound super old, but I think because of the weather, my knees are just killing me. So I think I'll just do this because I've been so excited to play with this, and I want to get some done because I do want to use this for the work week next week. But yeah, I might have to split this up into multiple videos. I will try to do things as real time as I can, although certain things I might just either speed up or just edit out altogether. But again, in the description box, once I do the editing, I'll figure out what each of these sections are. So this is an A5 Stalogy half-year notebook, so there's 192 pages in here, and it is 148 by 210 millimeters, and when I measure that out, it's actually 8.25 by 5.75, so slightly bigger than if you were to cut a piece of copy paper in half. So just to give you a reference, if you've been here for a while, this is the DIY bullet journal that I make. This is the one that we had just finished up for September, and this is using big Happy Planner paper. So this measures 8 by 5.5. So this is comparable to it. It's kind of hard to tell because the cover is slightly bigger than the paper, but if I try to match up the paper, it's just slightly bigger on tops and bottoms, just to give you an idea of how big this is. Now, I like this size. They do have a B6. I think they have 4 different sizes, but because I've been working in that sized bullet journal, I thought it would work perfectly for me. And so what we're going to do first is we're going to do this inside cover. Now, I've been binge watching Stalogy videos here on YouTube for about a week and a half now. Once I decided to purchase this, it did take about a week and a half to come from Amazon. If they still have these half year available, I'll go ahead and link that below. But I noticed that there is, let me move this. I might use these black Sarasa pens, or just one, obviously, but I think I might work a lot with the gray here. Sarasa pens apparently work really well in here because they're quick drying and they don't bleed through, at least from what I can tell. So I'll use one of these here, but I'll put it to the side. But there's 3 sort of methods to sort of cover this front page. Some people just put die cuts and stickers and just leave the gray. Some people do like a washi method, and it's done on the diagonal, and so you just get your washi either that you enjoy or is sort of themed for the book. Again, that's up to you. You put it on a diagonal and it just goes that way. Some people go a step further and do that washi trick, but on a full sheet of sticker paper, and so that if any of your washi is sheer, then the gray doesn't peek through, the white sticker paper that you're probably using does, and so your washi is more true to color. But what I'm going to be doing is, I had designed something on Canva, which is this right here. And actually, that's upside down. Canva.com, there is a free version. I do use the paid version because I use it for both my channel art and my social media and whatever, so I find value in it. But I just made 11 by 8.5 so that it was in landscape mode. I do have sticker paper sort of. I used to have an Etsy shop that was open, and this is the label sheets that I would use to send. So I don't know that sticker paper is a better quality, but this is what I have, and so this is what I'm going to use. And so I'm going to go ahead and put that in for the front cover. Now, you absolutely don't have to do anything for the front cover, but I like the thought of looking at something pretty like this. So I'm going to tell you right now that this is going to be a little bit finicky, and it also is not going to fit the full size, and I'll talk about why I know that in a little bit. And so it's going to go like this. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but I'm going to try to make this as nice as I can. I'm going to take the whole sheet off. And what I'm going to do is try to line this up as much as I can to the edge here and kind of hope for the best, because you really have just a one-shot deal. And I'm just going to buff that in. Okay, now I will need to cut around the edges, and I will do that in a little bit. And the way that it prints with that white border, and I suppose I could have cut that off before I started, but it's not that big of a deal to me. Again, I don't know if the sticker label paper is short than a regular copy size paper, but again, it's what I had. And then for this one, it goes that way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off, and with the other hand, I'm going to put this underneath, because what I don't want it to do is stick to the pages underneath. And same with that one. I'm gonna try not, because I'd rather have more gray space in the middle than the white edge. And just sort of plop it down and hope for the best. Okay. And I'm going to use a smallish size scissors to cut around this. And you just want to get as close as you can. And I find that a small scissor like this works the best, because you can really get into it. But let me go ahead and clean up all these edges, and I'll bring you guys back. Okay, so done that. I think that looks good. This was a washi sampler my friend Andy had sent me, and I'm leaning towards either this one or this one. I wonder if there's enough on here. To just sort of line this edge. Oh yeah, no, I think that's sweet. Now I don't want to go in the center crease because I don't want to bulk it up. And so I am going to leave a strip like that. And this, I mean, all of this is absolutely optional, but I like the look of it. I will clean that up. And then I'll do the same here. And just press that in. Now I definitely would prefer it to be too short than too long. So, and if you're new here, I am never in the pursuit of perfection. It's really honestly not even on my list of to-dos. I want it to look nice, and to me that looks nice. Okay, So that is the front cover done, and I think that looks really pretty. I actually had done the same thing, and that's why I had learned some lessons in the back here with some other design that I had made. And basically it's actually the same as the front. It's just it's a little bit more vibrant in color, and that's when I realized, oh, I do need to pay attention to the direction, because I don't know if you guys can notice, but the writing is upside down. So again, unless you're really focusing on it, then you might notice it, but otherwise it's still pretty to me. So that way I really knew, okay, you need to make sure this is pointing the right way. So that is the front cover done, and I'm very pleased with that. Now my edges are a bit rough, but I did order a clear cover from Amazon. I'm just waiting for it to come in, and so that's going to be covered up, so I'm not too concerned about that. And then what I did do last night is just do some measuring guides for me, just to figure out exactly how many graph squares are on this. This is quite different from the bullet journal setup that I have, because this deals with graphing versus the dot grid, but it's very light, and so I think it fades both ways, but it does give you a little bit of a different feel to it. This is not Tomoe river paper, but it is very thin, and I like that. I don't know if you guys can see it, but at the top here, how this is used is a daily planner, or I think that's the general intention. And so you can pick the month, the day, and the year. No, the month, the date, and the day, so that you can, if you didn't want to decorate this, you could just mark out it is currently October the 3rd, which is a Saturday, and you can mark it out there. And it's really light. I don't even know if it'll pick up on the camera, but on the side here, it actually has from 0 to 24, so you could do a sort of time tracker for the entire day if you wanted to. But it is so light that I barely even see it, so I'm not going to use any of those, nor am I going to worry about covering it up. Now for this page, because the way the book is set up together, it sort of flops like that. It actually doesn't sit clean like all the other pages do. And so I'm actually going to glue this to this page right here. And I'm just going to run some double-sided tape. And before we do glue it down, I did use a high-tech C pen, a Muji pen, and this is the Papermate Flare pen. And while there is ghosting, there is no bleed through. So I'm quite happy with the performance of the pen on this paper. And I'm just going to sit this back on that right there. And now when I open it, it just opens without flopping like that. And you don't have to do that. You could actually decorate the other side if you wanted to, but I prefer it that way. For this page, I am going to put down a quote. I do have a pencil board. I've never actually used one. I don't know that I'm going to use one now, but I might use this as a straight edge later. What I have done, but I've done it in pencil just in case I don't like it, is I've sort of mapped out on the bottom of the page what I want it for, just so that I could start counting what the pages are. And I do want to set this up for a work planner starting in October. So I'm actually going to back plan and include this first week that we're just ending up. And if I don't run out of energy, then this is actually what we're going to get up to. But I don't think I'll be able to sit through all of the things that I wanted to do in this very first video. So we're going to do as much as we can. And so I'm going to put down a quote that I found. I don't know who wrote it, but I liked it. And let me pick a pen. I think I'm just going to go with a gray mild liner. I'm not going to do any fancy lettering. I do want this to look nice, but it doesn't need to because, again, this is for work. And what I'll do is I'm going to just do some block lettering in this. And I don't pencil anything out, as you can see. All right, so I have two moods, and it actually is this. Constant panic and worrying about every detail, and it is what it is. Now, just to zhuzh this up a little bit, I'm going to take my Sarasa in maroon. Now, I do have the two different color packs of the vintage colorway, so I don't know what this is formally called. It's not on the pen, but I'm just going to do some outline of this just to make it pop, and I think just make it look a little nicer. And so I'm going to do that. think that actually looks really good, and I think by lining it with the color, it doesn't have to be red, it actually could have been any color, I think it makes it look a little bit messy, or a little less messy, because I think with just the highlighter it looked kind of messy, but that actually I think looks really nice. And I want to put that this is from October of 2020, and then I'll fill that in once I finish this. I'm hoping that this will, one, keep my interest, but also last through the school year, because this is a work planner. I do work at a community college on the staff side of the house, and so I'm hoping this takes me through June of next year, and then July actually is when we start picking up activities and whatnot for fall of 2021. I know it seems a bit crazy to be thinking that far ahead, but yeah, I'm thinking that far ahead. Now I do want to tip in some vellum. Like I said, I've been watching a lot of videos here on YouTube and people have done that. I'm not going to be doing as many of the decorative elements that you see people do here on YouTube, because I don't want this to bulk up, because I will be carrying this around in my purse with me, and once things get back to normal, I will be going back to catching the bus on a daily basis, and so I don't want anything that just gets too heavy. Now, I don't actually have a lot of vellum, but in one of my paper pads, I did find these, so I did cut these down, and this, I think, actually, just by the feel of it, is actually more of an acetate. I think these are more vellum-ish. And then this is the last one. I'm leaning towards one of these. I kind of like that one, but I also really like that one. We're just going to go with this one. Okay, now even this, tipping it in is a little different than I had imagined. Watching a bunch of these videos, I realized that I thought that these Stalogies were handled very much in the same vein as a bullet journal, where you are just hand doing all of the spreads, because the major draw between a hand-drawn bullet journal style and a pre-made planner, like for instance a happy planner, is that you get to make it exactly what you want. That's also the downside, because then now you have to make it exactly the way you want. With the people who I've seen in both Traveler's Notebooks and Stalogies, they've been doing it in a bullet journal style, but they do lots of printables and tip-ins, and so you get the freedom of making your own planner, but you're not drawing everything. It's very heavily paper and stickers in this Traveler's Notebook Stalogy version versus the bullet journal version that I've always been used to. I didn't realize there was such a difference. All right, so what I've done is I've stuck half to this here, and I suppose I should have done it on the back side, but it doesn't really matter. Now I'm going to try to fold this up so that it's sitting flat like that, and try to get my big hands out of the way. Put this as flush as I can, and it doesn't help that it's the very first page, and so that's really nothing I can just sink it down into. And then kind of fold that up like that. And then for this back side, I think I'll use this right here. And what you want to do is put the sticky side up and just sort of fold it over. So it's not sticking to this, it's just really using it as a straight edge. And then again, you put that down like that, and then you kind of roll the tape. I really hope you guys could see that. And so I'll just do one more here, and then that's all the tape that I need to do. So sticky side up, roll it over this. And then kind of pull it taut. Line it up as best as you can. And then just sort of flatten the tape. Now, once you're in the book, it'll make more sense while you're using this because you really want to dig it down in there. This is literally the very first page, and so there's really nothing to dig down into. You could put one there, you could put some there, but it doesn't need it. It definitely is secure, and it just makes a nice entry point into it. Now, the ones that I've seen, this is usually a lot lighter. People apparently can print on these things. I don't know. And had I used like the green one, you'd be able to see this. But I do like that it's like, oh, so pretty. Really? I like the difference on that. All right, so the next thing we're going to be setting up is my future log. I wasn't sure how this would look on the back because of the pen and the highlighter, but clearly, although there is ghosting, there is no bleed through, so that's really good. Now, I don't generally use future planning. I don't generally use rulers, but for this, I'm actually going to use both. And I want to segment this into 3 columns. So that's this one, and this one. And so let me do some counting. Because now I see the downside of putting this there is I can't really use that as a marking page, but that's fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All right, so I do know that this is 34 boxes across, and so in order to get it as even as possible, I'm just going to segment this up into widths of 11 across. The Muji pen is not waterproof. I don't know if I'm going to be using a highlighter. I believe that these are waterproof ink, so I'm going to use this instead. And I'm going to draw lines. I know that must seem very odd to some of you because if you're here from my other videos, I'm very much a proponent of just freewheeling it. But I think I talked briefly about this in yesterday's video. When it comes to work, I like being detail-oriented. And so while in my bullet journal and my Happy Nietzsche, I enjoy the creative, let's just do whatever. In this one, I actually find it kind of relaxing to do the ruler and make this look really neat because it is for work. I know, it probably seems rather bizarre. Okay. And I do have these stickers here. And I think, because I do, I just want to put them on the page just because I have them, so I might as well use them. But I also do want to put the numbers down the page because I'm actually going to literally use this as a future planner because I can see projects and due dates throughout the school year of the various tasks that I'm assigned to. And so this will just be a landing spot just so I can make sure that I'm on target for them. And this is actually the wrong month. It does come with all of these sheets here, and I'll link it below. You do get to choose when it starts, I think I chose the September through December start, but I want to say they also had just a January through December start. You can definitely take a look at the listing below. I don't know about the tabs yet because these will definitely stick out. And so what I think I'll do is I'll peel it off, cut the tab off, and then I might be able to use this for something else. And then just stick that down. And I know that it is 48 boxes down based on this right here. And so even by taking up that spot right there, I know I'm gonna have enough room to put in the days. And so let me go ahead and, well, let's see what's after this. So I've got future planning, and I want this to take me through June. Oh no, this was gonna actually take me through September, I think, which is good for future planning for me. And then I was gonna work on projects and tasks. So let's work on this, because what I plan to do with this one, and this one is fine with this pen, is I'm gonna number down. And that's essentially what I'm going to do for all of this future planning. And there's really no point in you guys seeing all of that. And so I think we'll skip to the next thing, because what I'll do is I think this will be the last thing that we work on in this video, and then I'll do another part 2 video to set up October, which shouldn't be as long, I don't know, but at the end of this video, after I set up, I'll come back and I'll insert footage of a flip through of what I've done so far to include this all being completed, if any of that makes sense. So for this here, these are all of the tasks that I'm responsible for as of right now, and if it does change, that's fine. Okay, now I've got this that I purchased from Christy Marie Designs. It is a dot grid stencil. Now, obviously it's a dot grid stencil, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to just use this just to make a box. It's because I have it, so why not? And I'm not going to be using highlighter around the box. And this one I'm just going to eyeball, sort of center. And then just do that right there. I think we'll take this one and we'll use the more fine tip. And this is going to be projects and tasks. And let's see how it looks like when it's outlined in gray. Ooh, that's pretty. I really love the flow of these Sarasa pens. I think they might be my new favorite. I like the Muji. Sometimes towards the end of the ink, the Muji pens seem to skip a lot, but these flow really nicely. And even the black one, I mean, not gonna lie, these vintage colors are just really fun and pretty. But the black one, I mean, it's the same exact pen, just in black. And I think it's lovely. I wouldn't mind getting a whole bunch of these gray ones and just using this as the new black. Okay, so I am gonna go back to this one right here. And I'm gonna try to be fancy. That doesn't always work out for me. But I'm gonna tip the chisel edge downwards so I can run it across the bottom there. Yeah, I don't know how that looks, but let's outline it. All right, that looks better. I mean, better than it was. And I'm just going to make some boxes here. And it's a little hard for me based on the angle that I'm doing this in, because I want it to be in frame for you guys, but it's a bit far away for me. Okay, so now I've got these boxes down, and so these are going to be things I need to get done every week, bi-weekly, monthly, end of the semester. There's certain tasks that I do for summer and for fall and for spring. And then this is miscellaneous. And I'll go ahead and fill this in based on the tasks. And it's not going to be down to the minute detail, but weekly there are certain things that I need to look at. Bi-weekly there are certain reports that I need to look at. Monthly there are certain reports I need to look at, and I also need to look at overall status of my various projects. There's things that I do at the end of the semester. There's something that I do 30 days into the semester. There are things that I only do during summer. There are things that I need to gear up to do for fall, and same for spring. And then these are just projects that come up. And if I write something here and then it gets reassigned to someone else, I'll just strike it through and then write whatever the new one is. But I did leave this page open, and this one as well, just in case my projects and tasks do change, just 360, 180, whatever the math would be on that, just to give myself some flexibility. What you won't see in here is an index, and you won't see a key. This is not going to be treated in that respect by a bullet journal. The tasks that I'm writing in here on a weekly basis are not tasks that I think I'm going to do and then check off as I get them done. Everything that I'm going to be listing in my weekly tasks is basically things I have completed, because this will help me fill out a end of the week report that I'm required to do to say what have I done this week and what do I plan to accomplish next week. So this won't be handled in that fashion, and in that respect, once I'm done with the week, I can refer back to it for the new week, but I don't really need to index it, because if I need to find a particular project, I can just look in our computer system. This just helps me on a weekly basis figure out, yeah, this is exactly what I did this week versus to the student. Because if I need to find information, I'll just look up a student's information. I do comments on the students that I review, and that's what I can use for the work side of it. But just for my own work plan purposes, that's what I plan to use this for. In these back sections, I do plan to track for bills as well as keep some important information. I don't know if I'll do a setup video with you guys because that's not information that I generally share. And so like I said, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and finish out mapping the future log, and then I'll insert some video when I'm done with that here to just end this video. And I think for part 1 that's what we're going to do, so that in part 2 of this Stalogy A5 setup video, then we'll work on the October cover, the monthly overview, and then setting up the week that we actually just finished, just to make this cohesive, and then the week that we are going to go into, because today is Saturday, October 3rd. All right, I'll see you guys at the end of the video when I do a flip through of our progress. All right, guys, so I've done those future planning logs, and so let me just do a quick flip through of what we've done so far. So we did do both the front and the back side cover, and I love how that looks. That washi was sent to me by my friend Andy. Andy's the one who really inspired me to want one of these. She's been working out of her Stalogy, and go ahead and check out her blog, itsareadingthing.com. She does videos on there, and oh, she has such great ideas, and she uses it more in what I've seen on YouTube, where she does a monthly, a weekly, and she does some dailies as well. And so I love her setup, and I love seeing her flip throughs. And I did set up this guide, although now that I'm thinking about it, for this side of the page, it should be fine. For this side of the page, I mean, it does give me a count, but I won't be able to really reference because of this right here. But even though I could take this out, I love how this looks. And actually, I love how neat it looks, even if it might not be that functional as much as I thought it would be. I did cut these a little bit short. Again, I don't want anything hanging out of this. And so it just really is just a nice place marker for the beginning of this work and bill planner. Here is my cover page for it, and I did add in this little doodle here. Again, I'm gonna see how it goes without using any stickers. It might just be by use of color and maybe some doodles in here that I bring some decorative elements to it because of the bulk factor. I'm hoping this takes me through June. We shall see. I think this looks so neat to me, and so I love using the stickers at the top. I think there is going to be a trade-off with, okay, I certainly could lessen the bulk and draw this in by hand, or I could, you know, just not hate my life. So I've done that before. I've done it where I've drawn them all in, and there is something to seeing your own writing on the page, and then there's also just using tools you have at your disposal. I did mark out the weekends here, just one, so that it isn't one big stark spot. I've actually thought about this before when I was working in my bullet journal, where if it's just one long continuous month, for whatever reason, it just seems to make the month that much longer. But if you know, yeah, I just got to get to the weekend. Okay, I just got to get to the weekend. I don't know, that just seems to mentally help me deal with the week. And I've got it all the way through September. Again, this planner is only going to go through June, at least the way that I envision it in my head, and that will be one full academic year, as well as to close out the year. And July through the rest of 2021 is actually for a new academic year. But there are things that I'm doing in May and June that affect these months here. There are things that are due in these months that affect what I need to get ready here. So that's why I thought it would be nice to have it extend out into the new academic year. Although if all goes to plan, I'll get another one of these and just set that up. And then for the projects and the tasks, I'll go through, because I actually have a whiteboard, I have a white board in the office that has all of these things down, and so I'll go and I'll just weed through, okay, what it actually is still on my assignment list and what has been given to someone else, and then write that here. And then I always have an idea of what I need to do, but this will just give me a reference, especially when I'm planning out for things here. Oh yeah, you need to make sure you do that. You need to make sure you do that. I don't know if I'm going to be doing any color coding. I generally work in a black pen. I do have some of these vintage pens at work, but just for consistency, I might just do the majority of things in black. And then if I post holidays or vacations, that might go into a colored pen just so that I can see it more. All right, so I hope this video is interesting to you. I've been so looking forward to getting this since I ordered it, and I'm loving the direction that it's going. I know it's a bit weird to have the floral and then a quote like that and then everything in blacks and grays, but I love the look of it. And whether it's all gray for the entire thing or if I just, you know, pick colors at random, I don't know about that, but I love the direction. In the next video, part 2, which I'm hoping to film either later today or tomorrow, I will be setting up at least the first part of October. And I could set up the rest, because the way that I see it in my head, it actually will be pretty much the same from week to week. But I do want to see how I feel about doing the back planning for this one, and then next week how I feel working in this before I set something else up. Because even though I've marked it at the bottom, if I need to make any tweaks or rearrangements, I certainly can do that, but I don't want to lock myself into something that isn't going to work before doing some testing. All right, guys, I'd love to know what you think below. Is there any questions or comments that you have? And would you be interested in seeing a setup video like this on a monthly basis? Again, once I show you how I do October, the way that I envision it for the rest of the months will pretty much be the same. But if it is interesting to you, I would definitely film it. I mean, I'm going to be doing it anyway. So this is my very first video in my Stalogy A5 half year. And I want to thank you guys for being so encouraging and supportive. And from me to you, aloha.